this Omicron COVID variant is popping up, and they discovered it essentially in Africa. Not clear if it started there or not, but it's already all over the place. But the U.S. government instituted a travel ban pretty quickly. Have you had a chance to review what this travel ban's about and who it covers?
Yes, I reviewed the proclamation. Proclamation was issued on November 26, 2021 by President Biden. And it basically says that anyone, both immigrants and non-immigrants, so it covers both immigrant visas and non-immigrant visas. This is very important. Okay, I will go back to it a bit later. So anyone who was in this countries, I will name them. It's Botswana, Eswatini, Lesotho, Malawi, Mozambique, Namibia, South Africa, and Zimbabwe during the 14-day period right before they're trying to enter the United States is prohibited from entry. So these people who need to travel to the United States, they would need to go to some other third country and stay there for at least 14, probably it's better 15 days, depends on how you count, right? And stay there before traveling to the United States. So it resembles a bit the proclamation that was enforced regarding the Schengen area, right? That was just repealed on November 8th, right? So, but there are a few things that I want to mention, particularly about this. What is interesting about this proclamation? Again, it doesn't apply to citizens. It doesn't apply to lawful permanent residents. It doesn't apply to spouses of U.S. citizens and lawful permanent residents. There are a bunch of other exceptions, right? So I'm not going to go over through all of them because it's like the whole list. So the interesting thing about it is Section 3. It says that the Secretary of State shall implement this proclamation as it applies to visas. So what does it mean? If you remember, when the Schengen ban was still here, U.S. embassies in Europe, in the Schengen area, they refused to issue certain kinds of visas based on the proclamation. And then there was this long litigation. It's called Kinsley versus Blinken case that came out recently. I believe it was September. All right. But at this point, it became almost moot. And the judge in this decision said that, okay, Department of State cannot not issue visas to people, even if there is a proclamation there, right? You can stop the entry, but you cannot stop issuing the visas based on the proclamation. And again, this proclamation specifically says that they don't know if they're going to continue issuing visas in this country or not. So they give it to the to the Secretary of State to decide on that. So we don't know. Again, we don't know yet how it's going to work. Whether it's going to go, because Blinken, I'm sorry, Kinsley versus Blinken is a precedent that has to be followed.
Yeah.
Right. And if they say that, okay, we're not going to issue these visas, but there is this precedent, so we will see. We'll see how it's going to work. But it's important thing to know.
Another thing they do to get around this is they just don't schedule interviews then, because if they have to issue the visa and then because of the decision, but a lot of times people won't be able to even schedule an interview, it won't be available. That's their way of getting around issuing visas kind of circumstances. So It's not clear cut about how this is going to practically work out for a lot of people. A lot of people with work visas and marriage visas and the like. Go ahead. You had more than you wanted.
As I mentioned at the beginning, it applies to both immigrant visas and non-immigrant visas. So there is no end date for the proclamation. So it's gonna stay with us until it's terminated by the president. And again, we don't know how much time it's gonna take. And because this proclamation was issued, and because Omicron variant is everywhere now, I hope not, but there is still chance that some other countries will fall under new travel restrictions.
Now, you mentioned the immigrant visa. Let's define that. So, people who have green cards or green card holders, they have immigrant visas, but if they've already entered the United States with the visa they get from the embassy, the immigrant visa, they're green card holders, they could come and go. But the immigrant visa are those who may have had an interview at the embassy, but have not flown into the US yet. So they have the visa, but it has been stamped by the Customs and Border Protection of the airport. those people are subject to the travel ban. They have the visa already. They could now go and we're in one of these countries. They go and wait outside for 2 weeks and then come in. But it becomes difficult, just going to another country and stay 2 weeks, not easy thing. It's very expensive, finding a hotel, flights, and all that kind of stuff. And you have to be mindful that the visa in these kind of cases is only valid to the length of the medical checkup. So if it expires, you'll have to do a new medical checkup, get a new visa. So it's a big headache for all these people coming from these countries, as it was for so many people from Europe and Brazil and China and Iran and India and all these people that were subject to this. So we'll see what happens. But thanks for getting into that. It's affecting a lot of people.
Yes, and one last thing that I want to mention, following what you just said, uh, we had a case where parent of a U.S. citizen got their visas, right, but they didn't
Yeah.
travel to the United States right away. It was still when Schengen ban was still in force, and they decided to travel like 2 weeks before the expiration of their medical checkup. And
Hmm.
before that, they entered, I don't remember, I think it was Poland. And just because of that, they were in Schengen, but they were traveling from other country that was not even under the proclamation. They were denied entry and they had to go through the whole embassy process from scratch.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a
don't leave it at the last moment.
Yeah, it's planning out. That's the thing. When you get the visa, come as soon as possible. And then once you have a green card and you can get citizenship, file for that as soon as possible. Don't delay on these kind of things because you really don't know what's going to happen. You think, okay, well, you think we're done with the travel bans, and a lot of people may have gone to consular processing to South Africa to finish up a case, and all of a sudden they're stuck now. They won't be able to come in, and then everything gets messed up that way.